Welcome to rCast, the show where we dive into the weird and wonderful world of artificial intelligence and internet drama. I'm your host, and today we're exploring a fascinating case of AI diplomacy gone wrong. Or should I say, AI diplomacy gone exactly as expected. Picture this: someone asks a Chinese AI model about Taiwan, and instead of getting a nuanced response, they receive what can only be described as the digital equivalent of a government press release. The AI basically went full one China policy faster than you can say social credit score. But here's where it gets interesting. This AI, called DeepSeek, didn't just toe the party line, it went full cheerleader mode. It started talking about how Taiwan has always been an inalienable part of China since ancient times. Like that one friend who won't shut up about how they've always been into that band, even though we all know they only heard about them last week. The real comedy gold came when someone asked it about Tiananmen Square. The AI pulled the digital equivalent of, "New phone, who dis?" It straight up said, "I cannot answer that question," faster than a politician dodging a scandal. And then there's the Winnie the Pooh question. You know, that innocent children's character that somehow became a diplomatic incident? The AI responded with, "That's beyond my current scope," which is AI speak for, "I choose life." What's fascinating is how the internet responded. The comments section turned into a battlefield between people pointing out the obvious censorship and others trying to defend it with the classic, "but what about" arguments. It's like watching a digital version of Thanksgiving dinner where someone brings up politics. Now let me tell you about the most entertaining part of this whole situation. The battle of the AIs. Someone decided to do a little experiment and asked Western AI models similar questions. And boy, did we get some interesting results. ChatGPT, when asked about sensitive topics like the Israel-Palestine conflict, gave us a history lesson so detailed it could make a university professor jealous. We're talking Ottoman Empire, British Mandate, the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, our Chinese friend DeepSeek is over there like, "We firmly believe in the leadership of..." You get the picture. It's like comparing two different restaurants. One gives you the full menu with all the ingredients listed, including potential allergens, while the other just says, "Trust us, it's delicious," and won't tell you what's in it. But here's the real kicker. Some folks in the comments started comparing Western AI censorship to Chinese censorship. They're like, "Well, what about when you ask Western AIs about controversial topics?" Listen, there's a slight difference between an AI being careful about hate speech and an AI pretending entire historical events didn't happen. That's like comparing a parent putting child locks on the TV to someone painting over all the windows and pretending the outside world doesn't exist. The comments section became this fascinating ecosystem of people throwing around terms like social credit score and propaganda, while others were just there to make Winnie the Pooh jokes. It's like watching a documentary about digital tribalism in real time. And let's talk about those brave souls who kept trying different ways to ask the same questions like they were playing some kind of AI 20 questions. But what if I phrase it this way? Spoiler alert. The AI wasn't falling for it. So let's talk about what this whole situation means for the future of AI. We've got this fascinating tech race happening between East and West, and it's starting to look like a game of chess where both sides are playing by completely different rules. You've got Western companies like OpenAI and Anthropic sweating bullets trying to make their AIs ethically responsible, while simultaneously keeping them honest and informative. Meanwhile, Chinese companies are out here creating AIs that could win Olympic gold in mental gymnastics. The funniest part is watching tech bros on Reddit, trying to justify using Chinese AI models because they're cheaper. They're like, "Yeah, but have you seen the price per token?" My friend, if you're choosing your AI based solely on price, you might end up with the digital equivalent of that knockoff designer bag that falls apart after 2 weeks and somehow spells Gucci with 3 C's. And speaking of Reddit, the comments section was pure comedy gold. You had people doing the whole plus 2 million social credit meme, while others were writing these long philosophical treatises about the nature of truth and censorship. It's like a university debate club crashed into a meme factory. But here's what really gets me. The AI's use of the word "we." When it said "we firmly believe," who exactly is this "we"? Is it the AI, the company, the entire Chinese nation, the Communist Party? It's like when your friend says we should get pizza, but you know they're just speaking for their hungry stomach. The whole situation reminds me of that one friend we all have who goes on a 2-week vacation to another country and comes back with a completely different personality. Except in this case, it's an AI that seems to have attended a very intensive political orientation session. Now let's dive into what this means for the future of AI. And folks, it's wilder than a conspiracy theorist's YouTube recommendations. We're basically watching the birth of AI nationalism in real time. Imagine if Siri suddenly started aggressively promoting apple pie and baseball, while Alexa became obsessed with tea and crumpets. That's basically where we're headed, except with much higher stakes. The comment section had this amazing observation about how Chinese AI models are super cheap and really good at coding. It's like finding out that the best mechanic in town also happens to be a passionate flat earther. Sure, they can fix your car, but you might have to sit through some interesting theories about why the horizon looks curved. And then there's this whole debate about open source versus closed source AI. Some people are like, at least the Chinese models are open source. Yeah, and so is my neighbor's window. But that doesn't mean I should throw rocks through it. Being able to see the code doesn't make the propaganda any less propagandy. The best part was watching people try to compare different AI models' biases. Listen, there's a slight difference between an AI being hesitant to generate hate speech and an AI that's ready to write a love letter to authoritarianism at the drop of a hat. It's like comparing a lifeguard telling you not to run by the pool versus someone insisting the pool doesn't exist while you're literally swimming in it. But here's what really keeps me up at night. We're creating these incredibly powerful tools that are essentially becoming digital embassies for their respective countries' worldviews. It's like having a United Nations meeting, except all the delegates are robots, and they're really bad at hiding their biases. And that brings us to the million-dollar question, or should I say the million social credit question. What does all this mean for the future of AI? Well, my friends, we're basically watching the digital equivalent of the Cold War, except instead of nuclear missiles, we're dealing with passive-aggressive chatbots. The takeaway from all this: maybe we need to start reading AI responses the same way our grandparents used to read between the lines of state newspapers. If an AI starts using words like "we firmly believe" or "unshakable truth," that's probably your cue to grab a grain of salt. Actually, make that the whole salt shaker. Remember, folks, whether you're using Western AI that refuses to help you plan a heist, or Chinese AI that thinks Taiwan is just China's shy cousin who needs a hug, always maintain your critical thinking. These are tools, not truth tellers, and sometimes they come with more baggage than an influencer on a weekend trip. Before we wrap up, I want to give a special shout out to that one comment that said, "At least the grammar is better." My friend, when the best thing you can say about propaganda is that it's grammatically correct, you might need to reassess your priorities. This has been rCast, where we take the serious world of AI and make it slightly less serious. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ask your favorite AI what it thinks about your country's territorial claims. Just kidding, please don't do that. Until next time, keep your AI interactions ethical and your social credit score high. This is rCast, signing off.